just to GM, we're live. Hello, everyone. Let me just check real quick. Who's here? Hello, Soul Brothers. What's up, everyone? Soul Brothers on top and wow and lads on top. Okay, that's a good combination. GM, everyone, we are live with Armani Ferrante. Are you Italian?
I'm ethnically, I'm half Italian. That's right. Yeah.
It's a very Italian name. Like you cannot deny actually
That's
that
right.
there's like some roots.
That's right. That's
Ferrante.
right.
Armani. I don't know any other Armani.
That's right. That's right.
Actually,
That's
do
right.
you know another Armani?
No other Armanis, just suits and other fashion clothing. Yeah.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. Don't they even have a brand name Armani Exchange?
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Kind of
Yeah.
funny, no?
Yeah. It must have been destiny.
It's destiny.
Unfortunately, I can never buy a good suit with a straight face. Yeah.
You're not that guy, right?
Yeah. I can't imagine wearing a suit that
It
says
would-
my name on it. It sounds silly.
It would look very funny. Okay. I mean, you in a
a little
suit
self-indulgent.
You in a suit overall is kind of like a rare scene, I think.
Sure.
When did you wear a suit last time?
Last time I wore a suit was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off officially. We're live streaming a little bit, so we're
Sure.
going to be on Twitter. But the main gist of this is that we record. So for everyone who's on the live stream right now, we're going to cut. We're going to start into like a clean EP for Soul Brothers and for Armani here, where we're going to talk a little bit about his backstory. where he came from and what he went through, really, because your life has been quite a mess, if I have to say. Like, just from researching, like, man, you went up and down and up and down.
That's right. That's
like,
right.
The title of my live stream right now is called "The Rise and Fall and Rise of Armani Ferrante." That's actually what I wrote, because that's how I feel. It's pretty accurate, no?
That's how I feel as well. Very accurate. But
All right.
Such is life.
So we're going to kick it off officially. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Soul Brothers with Armani Ferrante today in an exclusive Tokyo Super Team Japan special, where we're going to have just a little laid-back conversation about Armani's background, where he came from, and what he experienced in the past couple of years building in crypto, and how the fuck he's still sane after everything he went through and in this industry. I think you are a very interesting personality, because you have a very easygoing vibe, very kind of calm, I have to say. I think your nerves must be, I don't know, made of steel by now with everything you went through, but maybe I'm also mistaken, because I don't know you very well. So that's going to be the goal for today. We're going to get to know Armani a little bit better. We're going to talk a little bit about backpack as well, but it's a bit more of a personal interview usually with me, where we have like some questions that are hopefully slightly uncomfortable, maybe even, so we can dive a little bit into your story. Whenever it gets too uncomfortable, answer it anyways.
Sounds fun.
That's the motto for today. Let's start with some quick questions to kick it off. Just some basically lightning questions. And then we're going to dive into some more storytelling, okay? 2030, Bitcoin or Solana? What would be your bet if you have to invest today?
It's impossible for me to give you a simple answer. There's no simple answer to that question. I mean,
you have to pick one, otherwise I'm going to shoot you.
I'm a builder. I love programming and engineering things. I'm going to go with Solana because of the programmable environment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what's Solana's biggest strength?
It's certainly the intersection of how powerful the technology is and just the strength in the foundational engineering achievements that Anza and the whole kind of Solana community has kind of achieved. And it's the intersection of that with the community and culture that has been built. And I think that is the magical combination that is really hard to replicate.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be another L1 that can compete with Solana by now, or are the network effects
I think there will be many L1s. I think there will be as many L1s as there will be companies. I mean, obviously not one-to-one, but I think directionally, that's how I feel. You cannot stop smart, ambitious people that are creative and naive enough to think that they can do better than the status quo. And so I'm always supportive of new people building L1s. And I think folks will compete in new and different and exciting and unforeseen ways. But I don't think it's going to be the Ethereum killer or Solana killer narrative where you simply just make something faster, tack on a virtual machine, and then build this developer community around it. I think the big change that we're seeing is the rise of the application specific thesis once again. First with Hyperliquid, now with the stablecoin chains, and I think that trend will continue where you need a really strong story and go to market revolving around either a company or a specific use case.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Few more quick fire questions. Fire quicker. What's the meme coin that's actually worth holding? One meme coin that's actually worth holding. If you have to hold it for 2 years, which meme coin would you pick?
I'm going to go with Bonk.
And
you got to show love for the Bonk community.
You do.
They were there from the entire time. So
and it feels like if you have to pick one, it must be the safest bet right now we have. Really,
there's no safe bets in meme coins, but I'm gonna go with Bonk.
There's no safe bets in the whole world. Spicy question, a little bit. What's the Solana project that is highly overrated in your opinion?
Overrated.
An overrated Solana project.
It's hard for me to imagine an overrated Solana project. I think most of them are underrated.
Also an answer?
I can't think of. I'm gonna pass on that one.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's positive for Solana.
Yeah,
that's good news for Solana. And What other DApp do you use besides Backpack on a high frequency on Solana?
High frequency.
Daily, weekly.
I think I'm gonna go with Squads. Squads.
Makes sense.
They are one of the few teams in crypto, especially on Solana, that have had such a dedication to everything that makes crypto so special. Open source, formal verification, immutability, security. There's a reason why they're the dominant multi-sig on Solana. And I'm a big believer in account abstraction and Fuse and everything that team is doing, not only on the custody side of things, but also on the product side. So shout out to the Squads team. They're incredible.
Nice. Shout out to Squads. Good to know. I think a lot of teams use Squads on Solana, if not almost every fucking team. So that's pretty positive. Last question. If you could steal one feature from another blockchain ecosystem, can be a technical feature, can be a non-technical feature. If you could steal one feature from another blockchain ecosystem and bring it to Solana, what would it be?
So I think I would have to say I would want to enshrine account abstraction at the base layer. So going back to Squads, the idea would be to get rid of all EOAs. So this whole concept that your private key owns your assets, and instead you have a smart contract own the assets, and your private key controls the smart contract. So you control the assets indirectly. I think there's a couple L1s that have this feature, maybe most notably probably Near Protocol, but enshrining account abstraction at the base layer is probably one of the few asks I would have for Solana and every L1.
For people who can't wrap their head around it, why is this exciting for the average user?
So my view, and I think it's a fair, albeit maybe contentious comment, is that all self-custody, with very few exceptions, is completely, utterly, and totally broken. This whole ridiculous world that we live in, where you can lose your phone and you lose your ledger and you throw all of your assets away and they're irrecoverable and you can never get them back, that is not a great product. It's just not. We can lie to ourselves all we want, but it's just not a good product, and nobody wants that. Maybe bag holding degenerates do, but the rest of the world I refuse to believe that the world wants that product. And so you have to solve that recovery problem. And the challenge is, how do you solve that problem without giving up genuine self-custody, which in my view is what makes crypto so important. And you've seen various folks with various different approaches to this problem, some quite centralized but very convenient, some extremely decentralized but unusable. And it's my view that you can completely solve this problem while maintaining the best of both worlds by introducing various forms of account abstraction, where you can pick up your phone, talk to, in the same way you talk to your bank to get a new debit card. If you lose it, you can get your crypto assets. And doing that in a way where your assets, in the most pure sense, are yours. So you have an internet connection, you have your ledger, and you have a connection to a validator, you can get your assets. And it sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah, it sounds almost impossible.
But my assertion is that it is possible.
So where does Backpack Wallet fit in that strategy? Because it sounds like something you guys should solve if you are such a proponent for that.
It is something that we're working on. We have both the wallet and the exchange, and you need both of these pieces to do this. So maybe without going into the technical details, the basic idea, at a high level, is you can introduce a Squads multi-sig controlled by your Backpack wallet, and it looks and feels exactly like your centralized exchange account. The user experience is indistinguishable. You could connect to Solana dApps. You can have 2FA on your transaction signing. You can even do things like abstract away gas. So you don't need to have Sol, even though it's maybe being used under the hood. And if you lose your phone, you lose your ledger, you can call up our customer support team in the same way any centralized exchange has a customer support team. You go through, maybe a compliance review. This is a feature through one lens, it's a bug from another lens, but one of the, I guess, convenient things about having a KYC'd exchange is that we have your identity documents. And so we can use that as another layer of security when you go through recovery.
For access.
For access, yeah, I can verify you are who you say you are. And so in the same way you can recover your bank account, you can recover your wallet. And so this is going to be, in my view, one of the big evolutions of the wallet user experience over the next couple of years, where it has to be solved at every level of the stack. So you need not only the wallets to do this, but you also need the applications to do this, the SDKs to do this, and you need to have a full kind of, I guess, comprehensive reimagination of what it means to own assets in crypto. And so, yeah, that's kind of the basic idea.
Cool, makes sense. While we're talking about wallet and exchange and the products, let's stay there for a while, because I think there's one thing about backpack exchange that I always hear people talk about, but I don't think everyone really understands what the fuck that means. And I want us to simply, unpack this a little bit. People always say it's a hybrid exchange. I hear that word sometimes, and I don't even know what that means regarding to backpack. What does that refer to, and why do they call it?
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I quite dislike talking about this because I don't think most users understand it or care about it. But B, I feel like these technical definitions have gotten so distorted this cycle, where words, I kind of lament about this a bunch, but words almost mean nothing. It's like, what is a DEX?
I know.
What does it mean to be on chain? I could just give you the facts, marketing aside. So, the way the exchange is built, everything from the margin system to the way deposits and withdrawals and custody works, is with a lot of lessons and borrowings from the way a lot of, more crypto stuff works, right? The whole exchange you can abstractly think about as a permissioned blockchain, where every deposit, every withdrawal, every order placement, every liquidation, everything is signed with an ED25519 key pair. So it's a signed transaction, just like on Solana, just like on Ethereum. All those transactions are globally ordered in a linear authenticated log, and they are deterministically replayed from the beginning of time up until the present through a well-defined state machine. And so what all this means, to not get lost in the technical details, is that in the same way you can verify the Solana ledger or the Ethereum ledger or the Bitcoin ledger, you can verify the Backpack Exchange ledger.
Okay.
So I can look at all of the balances and I could give it to you or a regulator or a security auditor, and I can say, this is true, and you can do a state integrity proof over this ledger without having to trust me. And you can prove this to yourself.
Does this also refer to like proof of reserves? Because I know you guys also do that quite transparently.
So proof of reserves is a separate thing that goes hand in hand with this state integrity concept.
Yeah, but technically it's a different
Technically it's a separate thing where, okay, if I give you a ledger, how do I know that, that ledger is correct? So that's state integrity.
Yeah.
However, if I give you a ledger and I give you wallets that are on a bunch of different chains, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Optimism Base, whatever, how do I know that the assets are there? And how do I do that in a privacy preserving way that doesn't leak all of the assets and all of the users' balances on the exchange? And that privacy preserving element is really important. We can just release the ledger publicly and say, here are all the accounts, here are all of our wallets, add it all up. But I think very few people actually want their centralized exchange or their bank accounts or the brokerage accounts public. And so the zero knowledge aspect is quite important from that point of view. And so what the zero knowledge proof does is it allows you to not only, prove to yourself through the cryptography that the assets are sitting there in the wallets and that you don't have to trust me, you just prove it to yourself, but also that your specific assets are sitting in those wallets and sitting in our exchange ledger.
Okay.
And so when you combine these two things together, what you have is an end-to-end, I guess, guarantee over not only the state of the exchange, but that the assets are there. And you have that guarantee from the beginning of time up until today. And so to get back to your original question, when people are talking about a hybrid exchange, it's because it takes a lot of what makes DeFi so special and applies it to a centralized exchange, and creates this genuinely trust minimized centralized exchange that's running on chain, if you want to put it in those terms.
It is pretty unique setup that I don't really seen other exchanges go with. Who's the closest exchange that we would say resembling what you guys are doing, if at all?
I'm not aware of any other centralized exchanges that are doing this. I think most have taken the position that DeFi and CeFi are different, and so they're just treating DeFi as a special thing. We've kind of taken the position that, well, there's nothing from first principles stopping CeFi and traditional finance from coming on chain, and every bank account, every brokerage account, every centralized exchange, every retirement account, everything can be imbued with cryptography. And we can solve a lot of the problems in not only crypto centralized exchanges, but also in traditional finance more broadly, by applying, what makes, crypto so valuable from a security point of view, and bringing those techniques to traditional finance more broadly.
Okay. I think, Backpack's really uniquely positioned, but I also think, and I don't know if you're the perfect person to talk about it, because you're the tech, more like the technical brain in the company, and I think you live and breathe the tech as well. I don't know if how passionate you are about marketing, distribution, and branding. As a CEO and as the founder of the company, I do think that you have a really interest in these topics as well. Do you feel comfortable right now how Backpack Exchange is positioned in the market, and how you basically tell this message to the everyday Joe, that doesn't really want to know these deep details? We can unpack that here in a podcast, right?
Sure.
But like on the high level branding, website, Twitter, like the things you say on posts and so on, do you feel comfortable with really highlighting why Backpack Exchange is so special, or do you feel like you guys could do better?
That's a great question. I mean, I think we would always do better. The way I think about this is you have to know who your market segment is. Like, who are you talking to? Who are your users? And then tailor the message there, right? This is not like some novel thing I'm coming up with. This is just kind of like basic. Right now, who we are building for is to, similar but distinct set of quite advanced users. Because this is like really the foundation, right? We're building for the crypto native audience, people that care about
Mad Lads.
Trust minimization, right? Mad Lads, people that care about self custody. And then we're building for traders, and not just degens, but quite sophisticated professional traders that care about margin systems and these types of things. And so I think what we're kind of focused on right now is just building a really strong foundation for a small group of people doing things that don't scale, building a really great product, and really focusing on those people and building our community around it. And there will be a time, probably over the next year really, where we expand the market segment to thinking about more broader retail oriented use cases.
And I think this is where you should tweak
100%
messaging a little bit.
Totally agree. But when you're talking to crypto Twitter, or you're talking to Solana natives, it's a very different audience.
For sure.
And so I believe you just have to know who you're talking to and adapt there. But marketing super important. It's something I think about a lot, and so wholeheartedly agree.
We can tell, like, Backpack is, the overall branding is really strong, right? Like, that's definitely in the space. Along the whole Mad Lad saga was a pretty good move. That was very successful, and it's part of the brand. It's part of the culture. It's part of the ethos you build around the company, right? Super important. From 0 to 100%, 100% means done. Where's Backpack Exchange right now?
Maybe 1 BIP. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Really?
0.01%. Yeah.
Okay.
You have a long way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you really have like a North Star. You have a big vision. You're not there yet at all.
Yeah, we're not even close. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. I would have thought like 50 or some shit at least.
You have to put Backpack in context. So the exchange went live with Spot in 2024. Every other exchange has existed, and all the big ones, for over a decade at this point. They have all the money in the world. They have thousands of people. And then if you go even further to JP Morgan Chase,
sure,
Charles Schwab,
fucking centuries.
Fidelity. Yeah, exactly. It's just decades, centuries, you know, of institutional just ossification. And to reimagine all of that, whether it's crypto or traditional finance, it's an enormous opportunity, but it's enormous amount of work, and it's a lifetime.
If you say it that way, it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And it clicked a little bit for me now as well, like the one bip.
Yeah.
Because if you compare yourself to fucking JP Morgan, they're like, okay, you guys still have like let's take another few decades to
that's right
to build this out.
Yeah,
but,
it's a
you know, like if you compare yourself to the average kind of sex right now, then I'm like, okay, backpack's already fucking
sure, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So it always depends like where you really want to go, but I think you're striving really for high goals here.
That's right.
When are you ever done, Armani? With your own, like that's a more personal question. I
think you're done when you're dead.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You're that type of guy. Like you're not gonna retire with 35.
I don't really see the purpose.
Yeah. I mean, because you're purpose driven for what you're doing right now. You did work at Apple as an engineer.
That's right. Yeah.
Was that after high school, or was there?
It was first job out of college,
job,
just new grad software engineer. Typical kind of computer science major to big tech stint. Yeah. And then
where was that in the world? Like where?
Cupertino.
Okay.
California.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
No. I'm originally from, California, but you know, Southern California.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Bay Area is where you want to be if you're an engineer trying to start your career in tech. Yeah.
I think it's a good start. And what's still left right now in you as a person from that time? Like what did you take away from that job at Apple? Is there, or second part of that question, is there anything that you even took for backpack that you learned back then during your time at Apple?
I think there's probably two things. I mean, there's a bunch of details, but two things at a high level.
Yeah.
Firstly is, the reason why I went to Apple in the first place was because I always, like, their whole, like, the cultural aspect always like really resonated with me. I always felt that you can't really have technology in a vacuum, and it doesn't exist in isolation. And it's always about, you know, the people in the moment in time in the world around it that, you know, technology is meant to impact and you know, shape. And so that, you know, artistic component, I think, was a big reason why I always like really admired Apple as a company, which is a very different world from, I think, a lot of other tech companies where it's more single dimensional. And I think that continues to stay with me. I think Mad Lads is like just a good example of that, right? I think not a lot of I guess tech companies go and build an art project in the middle of building a company, for better or worse.
Not at all.
That's
it's
right.
Very unique thing.
And I think like just the second thing is just that there's just like no adults in the world. You know, things happen because you want them to happen and because you put in a lot of work to make them happen. But, you know, Apple is an incredible company. It's one of the best companies in the world, but it's just a bunch of people. And those people are relatively normal. And if they can build such great products and a great company and have such a large impact on the world, then so can you.
Yeah.
And so that sticks with me a bunch to this day.
Did your respect for Apple grow over time until today? Did it decline, or is it still the same? Just curious, because, you know, the brand changed a little bit. Their way to product changed a little bit.
For sure.
Definitely after Jobs, of course.
There's tons of ways to criticize Apple.
Are you one of them?
The world changes. You know, competition grows. You know, you can point at a million different things. I wouldn't say that my respect or view of the company has changed at all. It's still an incredible company.
Yeah, I mean, you also have personal history with them, so it's a bit different. How long did you work there?
So I interned there, and then I worked there for about a year.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. You take away some stuff. Do you own any other products right now, tech products that are not Apple? Smartphones, tablets? MacBook laptop. Sorry, don't know.
Solana Mobile, the Seeker. That's my go-to Android phone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
did you get it? Is it there?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
What's your take? Like, let's take a quick detour and tell me your take on the Seeker. You used it a little bit. You played around with it. What was your first impression when you picked it up?
I think my first impression was much more positive than the first
That's
phone.
Good. Okay.
I think ultimately I don't know if Solana Mobile is the answer, but I do think it's the right problem. And so I've always been really excited about the Solana Mobile effort.
Yeah.
I think getting buy-in at like the hardware and operating system level to actually bring to fruition, end-to-end decentralized applications is absolutely required. Right now, I mean, this is going to sound like FUD, but you got to call a spade a spade. Right now, there's an enormous amount of custody risk in every decentralized application. Not every one, but many of them. Something as simple as a wallet, or simple as a decentralized exchange.
What do you mean with custody risk right now in that context?
Yeah, so when you go and sign a transaction, you go to pick your favorite decentralized app. Just pick any of them.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself the question: how is that transaction getting created? A lot of what's happening right now is those transactions are getting created server side, and they're being sent to you over the wire from some server on AWS to your phone or to your browser.
Right.
And you are blind signing that transaction and praying that you are not going to get rugged. And the security of your wallet is completely and fully in the hands of whatever application that you're using.
Sure. Yeah.
And you can get rugged like that. It doesn't take a malicious actor. It just takes a well-intentioned, incompetent team, or maybe just maybe they just got hacked and a social engineering issue. But there's an enormous amount of fragility in DeFi right now because of this. There's no better example than Bybit. Bybit was not a centralized exchange problem. Bybit was a DeFi problem. That $1.5 billion hack, yes, there was issues with Bybit. Like, they shouldn't have had $1 billion in a multi-sig. Okay, they shouldn't have done that.
Right.
But the Bybit problem perfectly exemplifies this. Where what happened? Okay, the Gnosis Safe website got compromised, and they were able to deploy bad code that then the Bybit team went to the URL and they used it, and they signed a transaction. They had no idea what that transaction did, because nobody knows what any transaction does in crypto.
Works, right?
There's no clear signing anywhere,
Yeah.
Other than for like basic stuff like token transfers. And they got rugged for 1.4 billion ETH or whatever. And that can happen. Like, there's a million places where that can happen in crypto right now.
That is the example.
That
can happen at every point.
That is the example. And so, we have these aspirations right now with everything that crypto can do and the risk that it can mitigate. And from first principles, those aspirations are very real. And I see no reason why the industry cannot achieve that. But there's a lot of missing pieces here. And I think Solana Mobile is one of the most important missing pieces. And that's the reason why I'm excited for the Seeker.
You need to close that loop better. Why is that the solution? Why is that the answer to that problem again?
So you need to know the code that you're running, and you need to be able to verify how those transactions are constructed.
And you can do that with the hardware.
And if you have the operating system verifying signed binaries or signed JavaScript bundles, phones do this already. Right? That Apple App Store, iOS App Store verifies the signature of the binary that you publish to the App Store. And so I think basically you can have these end-to-end security guarantees if the client itself is doing the right, integrity checks over the application. Right. And so, I think that's the role. That's one of the roles of the client, and maybe there's other solutions, but it's an opportunity that I think maybe is not obvious to most people, but that the phone can, help to kind of champion. Given it owns the app store, it can say, okay, if you get published here, you need to sign the binary with this. Here's the code. It's published. Every time it gets, updated, here's the new code, and you can kind of see exactly what's happening. But you don't have genuine trust minimization for crypto unless people have access to the code. And unless people can verify that the code that they're reading maps to what's running on your device. And so if you can bring these types of things to, the app store or the operating system, Solana Mobile is not actually, as far as I'm aware, actually like thinking about these things, but it's the opportunity that I see. And it's one of the reasons why I think it's, I hope they're super successful, because if they are, then you can actually fulfill this kind of dream of decentralized applications that minimize a lot of the risk that you see with, centralized actors.
I think this is most likely the most underrated fact right now about the saga or Solana Mobile overall that I've ever come to hear right now. And no one talks about this.
Nobody talks about this because it's not a comfortable conversation.
Yeah, I'm happy we talk about it. Because I think we should put it out there. I think it's super important. What are the chances for Solana Mobile to actually get adoption and kind of make an impact, maybe even outside of the Solana, ecosystem? Because right now only we buy these phones. Like, let's be serious, right? Like, my mom doesn't buy shit. She doesn't even know what that is. But what are the chances?
What are the chances of any startup succeeding, right? What are the chances of Backpack, succeeding? I think ultimately you have to ask the question, sure, what are the chances of succeeding? I think they're orders of magnitude lower than anybody ever thinks when they start these things. I prefer to ask myself the question is this the right problem to go after? Then, if you fail, then so be it.
So the challenge is worth it. That's the
challenge is
conclusion.
worth it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive a little bit deeper into your backstory at the end of this conversation, because there's a lot to it, from being an engineer at Apple to starting to work in a very, back then, important player in the crypto market with FTX, and having probably a good time there for the good times, and then losing 50 mil, or I don't know how much exactly at the end were gone, but losing a big chunk of money that was definitely meant for building good shit. And then launching an NFT collection to come back. Like, all that, like that journey, I don't even know where to start, but what went through your head at the moment when the money was gone? What give us a bit of kind of feeling into your mind space back then. I don't want to bring back bad emotions, but
no, it's okay.
I think it's interesting I'm really curious to see how the fuck you handled this back then.
Yeah, so I mean, when I left my job, my job at Apple, it was my first job out of school. It was just programming job or whatever. I didn't really have a plan. I just read the Ethereum white paper, saw the price going up, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing happening in tech.
That's how most of us got on board.
And so I left my job, and I just was sitting in my apartment in San Francisco, just like trying to like poke around and contribute to a bunch of random Ethereum related open source projects.
Cool.
About a month into that, I got a phone call from some folks at a little trading firm in Berkeley, California. And that trading firm was called Alameda Research. This was before FTX existed.
They called you up?
They called me up.
How did they find you?
Some folks, they were in Berkeley and I went to Berkeley. And so there was just, mutual
each other somehow.
Contacts there. And so I went and checked it out, and honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't trying to work at a trading firm, and ended up there basically by accident. Was there for only 3 months. So January, February, March of 2018.
How was the time then? How were these 3 months before you continue the story?
I mean, chaos, right? It was like they were doing a bunch of I guess they were printing money on some of these like arbitrage trades, and it was a loud, fast-paced trading firm.
Okay.
It was very different than I think I guess what I expected and like what I wanted at the time. And so I very quickly left.
Okay.
Because I left my job not to work in trading. I wanted to work in on smart contracts and open source stuff, and it was a really magical time in crypto. I think that 2018 cycle where people were just dreaming about anything and everything, and it was a really cool kind of moment. So I basically left, and for a couple years was working on various projects in crypto. I worked on some Ethereum projects. I worked on different L1s, and then in 2020, when the Alameda and FTX folks started investing in Sol, and they built Serum, and they started getting involved with the network, they called me up again, and they said, "Well, hey Armani, how's it going? I know you don't want to work on the exchange or Alameda necessarily, but check out the Solana thing. I think you might find it interesting, and we built the Serum thing, and I think you might like it." And so basically, that's how I got introduced to Solana. Cool. And so they basically paid me to just work on all things open source. Cool.
Was that when you kind of worked on Anchor?
Yeah, so in September 2020, I basically came into Solana and worked a bit on a lot of DeFi stuff, worked on some wallet stuff, worked on a bunch of developer tooling, worked on a bunch of random stuff because nothing existed at the time. Like built the first multi-sig.
That's great, man. That's good
and worked on like governance modules and just was kind of all over the place. The network obviously started doing quite well. The price kept going up and up. People started coming into the network, and after a little over a year of that, basically came to the conclusion that I should probably just start a new company and build more stuff on Solana because there wasn't that much stuff being built at the time, and I was on payroll from Alameda, but I wasn't actually working or with any of them. So it's this really kind of unique position where I was like in the middle of these two worlds, where you have FTX and Alameda and Solana, and that's basically how the company that became Backpack was eventually formed.
What was it called back then? It wasn't Backpack.
So we had like there's these corporate names that they don't represent the products, right? So we have like Coral is one of the underlying corporate names, and then Backpack was the first product built by Coral, and that's basically how the company eventually got started.
And you raised capital from FTX as well.
And then I did a round with FTX, with Jump, and with some other folks, and basically had our first kind of shot on goal in terms of what we wanted to build with XNFTs and with the wallet and reimagining application ecosystems.
There was the rise, man. There was the rise because I think it was a good time. Closed around, had some good investors, were finally able to just do your thing.
That's right.
Build Solana products.
That's right.
But then
that's right. And then
shit hit the fan.
We learned about FTX kind of alongside everybody else on that flight home from Lisbon. So we were at Breakpoint, and there's all the FUD happening the week before that, and in my mind at the time, it was like so ridiculous. I was like, this is impossible. Like, there's no way like there's any issue. Like, there's a lot of bad guys in crypto. Look, I can tell you who the bad guys are. Like, but it did not dawn on me that FTX would be one of them. And so that was a pretty traumatic, informative experience for sure. So we lost $14.5 million, and that was, the number is like 88% of our capital at the time. And
of course, how did you?
We were wrecked.
How did you not give up at that moment?
So
did it at least pass your mind, like to just like quit crypto and do something else?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sitting there on the plane, right, and learning about this with like terrible Wi-Fi, and Twitter's going crazy, and there's a bunch of crypto people on the plane that are like coming up to me and like saying, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I mean, you're sitting there asking yourself, like, what are you going to do? And I think the conclusion I came to was that it doesn't matter like how big or small these types of events are. You will always make the same decision, whether you like keep going or you don't. It's like fight or flight.
Exactly.
And
so you ask yourself that question.
It's like basically a defining moment for not only you as a company, but also for like you as an individual. And so I think that was kind of, I guess, the brief analysis. And it was, you walk off the plane and basically just, I think came to the conclusion that, all right, no matter kind of what happened, we'll just keep going until somebody like, drags us like out the door and forces us to stop.
There was a definite decision in your mind.
That's right.
You were like, fuck it.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
That's right. And it did get quite bad, in
the days and weeks after.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible for a million different reasons. You have no money in the bank. You don't know if your team's just gonna like leave and you have no company anymore. We went out even like talked to some investors, and those were very difficult conversations, right? Nobody wanted to invest. Of course. Nobody wanted to invest in Solana companies. Nobody wanted to invest in anybody that had any type of association with FTX. And so it was this pretty dramatic fall from, you work for years in the industry, just doing what you're passionate about. You're really successful. You're working with like the best people in the space. You feel like you're a well-intentioned, good person, achieving, all of the success that you hoped that you would achieve by working, your ass off for, 10 years or whatever. And then overnight that kind of falls off a cliff. And the world just went into a mania at the time. Where you're not sure what to believe. And it was a pretty eye-opening experience because you can see just how dislocated the world's narrative can get from reality. You had folks thinking Solana was like somehow this like SBF thing, like that Solana would die, and it's like, no, Solana still has nothing to do with FTX, like invested in it, right? In the same way that anybody buys any token or stock or whatever.
The fat was up here.
And so I think that was just like a huge dislocation. People, when we decided to build the exchange, right, you talk to investors and they would, we hired some FTX folks because FTX was one of the biggest, it was like the golden child of the industry, right? It was able to get some of the best talent in the world. It was able to get Steph Curry and Tom Brady, and let alone the actual people that, had enormous opportunity costs to go work there. And a lot of people just like questioned me, right? Saying like, what are you doing? Like working with these people? And I was like, well, I work with the best people. And I think they're good people. And that was a contrarian, I think, view. And I think it was kind of as simple as that for me. And you see mainstream media like referring to us as like FTX and Alameda executives. Like every time we talk to anybody from mainstream media, it's always about like, I'm an executive now, which is like what, like they just clickbait, right?
Of course.
It's pretty incredible.
That's how I'm going to call the podcast, by the way. FTX X Executive Unpacks.
That's right.
It's gonna be the title of this podcast.
And so you see all these things, right? And you experience them, and at this point, it's almost just like, people, like the whole world has just gone through so much, right? Just forget about us, right? All the customers, the core FTX employees that actually were like, very publicly part of FTX.
They were
all the startups that had their money on the platform.
I mean, you were one of them, right?
Yeah, we were one of them.
There's been plenty.
It's much bigger than just us.
I mean, we all kind of lost some money as well. Like there's still individuals as well that kind of got screwed. I imagine that plane flight, the people that exited there must have been a pretty awkward scene. Like I think people were going a bit crazy, like there must have been people on that plane that lost millions as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that did.
Yeah, that is insane. Anyway, your answer to all that shit was Mad Lads? Was it a part of the answer? To kind of get out of this hole, you know, like.
I mean, there was many different answers. I mean, at its core, it's like, okay, just like, don't feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't even think about anything. Honestly, I haven't thought about. I mean, you think about this stuff during podcasts or whatever, but there's very few times when you sit and like reflect on any of it, because if you do that, you're kind of just dead. And so it's genuinely just like fight or flight for like the past like couple of years, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you have to do if you want to like, you know, claw out of the hole. And so yeah, Mad Labs was a big part of that. I mean, I think it was a special time for Solana. Where you're at the bottom of the bear. NFTs are kind of in the gutter. NFTs still had a lot of love and excitement and community around them.
I think you guys kind of brought it back, no?
And I think it's fair to say it was a part of that for sure. You had Bonk that was released, and you know, eventually, you know, the airdrop meta and all the great projects that TGE'd at that time. So there's a lot that went into it. Man, but yeah, that was a good moment for some breathing room for sure.
Yeah.
It's
a great story. I think this deserves some fucking Netflix material, like all this stuff, you know, that happened there, because there's a lot of learnings in there. Like you're saying, you're not reflecting a lot on these things, but I do think that you took the time to at least extract the learnings from it, and it made you who you are today, right? That story, that up and down, and going through that valley and coming out of it again, and you know, like. I think it also strengthened some sort of muscle inside of you that tells you, okay, if I just believe in something, you know, and if I keep going, and if I keep being well-intentioned, then it's going to turn out well. There's like this very simple quote, which is just like, if it's not good, it's not the end, right? Like, because people always think, like, okay, now it's over, it's the end. But if it's not good, then it's not the fucking end. And just like, you know, like do craft another end. keep going, you know, and there's a lot of learnings in there.
I think if there's a singular lesson, and I think this applies to Backpack certainly, it applies to Solana certainly, it probably applies to every startup that goes through such events. It's simply just not stopping is the singular thing to do.
Relentless execution.
And it's like not like particularly like interesting or novel or simple insightful. Truth, right? It's not like creative. It's just like just literally just like don't stop. And it might not look good at the time, and it might be you know, painful. People might just call you an idiot.
Yeah.
People might call you a criminal. But yeah, just don't stop. And eventually, over a long period of time, the world recognizes what's happening, and the truth emerges. And you know, if you build something valuable, then I think the world converges to the right thing. But if you don't have enough samples, if you don't have enough time, then and you just like short circuit, then the world can never actually get to that point.
Yep.
And so that's like the one, I think, thing that I think is a universal truth.
It's a beautiful takeaway, yeah. And a great moment to wrap it up, because we've been talking for a while, and we're going to bring it to an end. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're having a bad day, or you think you're going through a rough patch, then listen to this fucking man and what he went through and how he thinks now about life and the world. Like, quite positive, right? You have bad days. You will have moments as well where you doubt things. I'm pretty sure, you know, we're all human. Armani is also human, if you believe it or not. He just went through a lot of shit, and he's just able to actually do that simple thing, which is not stopping, which is simple but not easy. Like, it's not easy to do, actually, because it's most of the time it's easier to give up, right? But I think it's a good story for people to kind of hold on to as well, because in most cases there's some story out there that is worse than whatever you're going through right now. So that means we can all kind of, you know, make it at the end of the day. So I think that's a very good way to wrap it up. Armani, has been a really cool conversation. I could definitely talk more about that stuff. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing like kind of a lot of blunt truths with us, like just out of your brain, you know, like uncensored. Really appreciate that. And yeah, we're excited to see where Backpack goes. And whenever we're hit the JP Morgan level, then we're going to be there. So
hopefully we get there. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Cool.
Cut.
All right. That was the EP. Thanks, JT. We're still live.
That was fun.
Thanks, guys. We can check out here. 1,700 people are with us right now, by the way. So
1,000. Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So we did have a good time here, guys. Thank you so much for joining as well. We're gonna call it a day. And yeah, make sure to wait for the final episode. We're gonna make some cool clips as well. And I think there's gonna be some really cool short clips as well from the truths that Armani has been spoken. So yeah, we're gonna end the stream. Thanks, guys. You have a good day. We'll see you at the next one. Soul Brothers out.